Specifically directed to the unmarried. And I say unmarried even though our topic is specifically saying single, saved, and waiting, which is a wonderful topic and I love it. I really do. But how many know that just because you're unmarried, it doesn't mean that you're single? It doesn't mean that you're single, because single is a state of mind. It's a powerful place to be in one's life. But whether you're married or unmarried, you can be single or you cannot be single. And don't get me wrong, I know a lot of times people say when they're in a relationship and one or the other spouse is like going wild, like living like a single person. And so that's not what I'm talking about when a married person is living like they're not married. So that's not the kind of single I'm saying a married person should do. But what I'm saying, and I'm saying that because we've learned years ago to live life by definition. And so when you think about the definition, I think unmarried, it's self-explanatory, right? It speaks for itself. Unmarried means you're not married. But a single person, there is a definition for a single, not even a single person. Let me just put it this way. The Bible never even talks about being single as a marital status. It talks about being unmarried, which is obvious, meaning unmarried, that you're not married. But the Bible never spoke about being single as a marital status. And so we have endeavored to just kind of, squash that, and we're accustomed now to saying unmarried because it's self-explanatory. And being single, though, according to the Bible, means having a state of mind. It means not being divided. Okay? It means mentally and emotionally stable. And it means having clarity of mind, single, one mind, not being all divided. And if anybody knows about deliverance, you know what it means to be not only being soul tied to individuals, could be multiple individuals, being soul tied to them. And then another area, being schizophrenic. That means you're divided. You're not single-minded. You don't have a single eye, clarity, and able to perceive what the will of God is. And so therefore, you're not single. You're not single. And so that's why we wanted to try to make that clear tonight, and even to ask, are you single? Are you saved? And are you waiting? And we're going to give some clarity even to the word waiting. You all know what it means to be saved, but I'll give you what I have for that as well. Saved, and I'm just going to capsulize it. It's having received forgiveness. We're aware, we've heard all that Christ did for us, how he gave his life and died on Calvary's cross for everyone. And only some will receive that, though, right? Only some will receive it, but it's available to us. So saved, to be saved, means we've received forgiveness and received all that he's done, and he set us free. He set us free from the bondage. He set us free from sin and from death, and now we're alive to Christ, right? So that's what it means to be saved. In a nutshell, it means so many other things to be saved, but in a nutshell, that's what it means. And so I gave you the definition for single, gave it to you for saved, and then waiting. Waiting means preparing with expectation. And waiting, how many know? How many have been to restaurants? I'm sure everyone in here has been to a restaurant. What do the people that are walking around providing for you do? They're waiting tables, and someone said it as well. They're serving you. So while you're single and while you're saved, you should be waiting as well, serving. And then preparing with expectation, right? And we're going to talk about what you're preparing for. I already started and got ahead of myself talking about how God is preparing a bride for his son. How many understands what that means? If you're born again, you should understand what that means. And if you're a part of the body of Christ, even more importantly, then the Bible says that he is preparing his church as his bride. And that's what he's coming back for. That's who he's coming back for. He's coming back for a corporate body, and then he's coming back for individuals who have received him. See, right now, we're in a courtship. A lot of people say that, well, I'm married to Christ. I don't need a husband. I don't need a man. Not many men say they're married to Christ. I know that. And sometimes, when I think about it, I feel kind of sorry for men, because what men have to do is prepare themselves to be a bride, and they have to study to be good husbands. And so they have a dual role. So God bless you, men. Your job, you do have your job cut out for you, but it's important that you do get the revelation of what it means to be a bride, because that's what you are to him. Can you say first natural, then spiritual? First natural, and that's what we're talking about tonight. How many know that there was a first man and a first and a second man? A first man and a second man. The first man's name was what? And the second man's name is what? Exactly. So first natural, there was a natural man who came into the earth. He was born or made from the dust of the earth. That's how the first man was born. And then the second man, Jesus, he was fashioned. The second man came from heaven. The first man came from the dust of the earth, and the second man, Jesus, came from heaven. The first man, Adam, became a living soul, and the second man, Jesus, is a life-giving spirit. The first man, Adam, came first as a natural man. The second man, or the last man, Jesus, came after as spirit. And so we as individuals, how many know that we're natural and we're spirit beings as well? We're spirit, soul, and body. And so we have that dual citizenship as well. And so we have to know that we live in two different realms. We really do. We live in this three-dimensional realm right here, and we're also seated together with him in heavenly places. Now, if you can wrap your mind around that, then we're going somewhere tonight, because that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about, what it means to be spiritually married and what it means to be naturally married. And for the unmarried, you're in a great place right now, because you only have one husband to deal with. Only one husband to prepare to wake up to every morning, to literally care for. And the ones that are married, oh Jesus. We have our hands full. I know I do. I don't know about him. I'm just going to act like he's not here right now and just talk to the women who know what I'm talking about, that we do have our hands full. But I'm not complaining. I thank God for the man that God has sent me. And what has happened is, through all of these years, He has shaped and developed me more than I ever would have. If I had been on my own, out here trying to do life, and not only do life, but live saved, there's no way. And I know that. Some women might be like, sis, give yourself some credit. No, I don't deserve any credit right now, because my husband has really demonstrated to me what it is to walk like Jesus. And not that he's perfect, but just because of his heart, and just because of his his consistency, and just because of his drive to obey God, that has set an example for me and for our children. And so without that, without the sacrifices that he's made, I probably wouldn't even be saved today, because it's because of him that I even gave my life to the Lord. Because I was doing more pursuing when we were just dating. He gave his life to the Lord before I did. But we were dating, unsaved, and oh, what a mess that was. I thank God for saving us. I do, but my husband accepted the Lord first. And so, talking about putting pressure on a brother, he was like, oh, you're going to have to get saved. You are going to have to get saved, or this is not going to work. And I was like, okay, whatever you want. And you know what? With us, it's so interesting, because we are opposite of most couples. most couples, the female is the more sensitive one, the one who, I just need you to talk to me. I just need you to open up and let me know how you're feeling. And the man is usually like, I do not have time for this. I'm trying to get in here and watch this game, or I'm trying to go to sleep. We were the opposite. I was the one saying, please, once we got married, once I got him, once I conquered, just like I'm telling you, we were opposite. I was more like the man pursuing him, and he was the one, even though he has no female characteristics at all, other than the fact that he is sensitive, which is a godly characteristic. And he knows the importance of talking and communicating. And so most men, they don't want to, they'll let you sit and talk while they're zoned out. Oh, right. What were you saying now? So normally that's what I'm doing. So we're the total opposite, and the advantage of that is a lot of times he can really minister to the wife, a female who's really going through, which a lot of times they're surprised at that, and then I can then tell a man, how hard he is, and like, you're gonna trust me, I know, you're gonna have to soften up just a little bit. And so it's kind of funny when we are counseling or when we're sharing with a couple, but that's what keeps it interesting for us too, because I get a kick out of being able to relate to the guy as opposed to the female, even though most times I can relate to her as well. But most times when it comes to the sensitivity and not being so closed, that's what I relate to a whole lot more. And so I thank God for my husband, because you can see now I have no trouble talking, right? When he couldn't pay me to share a thought or an idea or a feeling that I was having. It's like, I don't have one. I don't. He's talking, okay, honey, and for the future, this is what we want to do, this, and that, da, da, da. How does that sound? Sounds great to me, whatever you want to do. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your ideas. I want to hear, where you want to go. Okay, let me see. Can I get something? Lord, give me something.